his waffles. Maple syrup dripping from his fake roll. Who did he see when he heard I was there? Now it seems that he should.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Lager Room Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, August the 3rd, 2022. Is it 22?
August the 2nd, John.
It's August the 2nd, 2022. Yeah, so August the 3rd is tomorrow. That's the sports show.
Actually, you can rush things because I go on vacation in 10 days.
This is true. Okay. It's August the 13th.
9 days. No, make it 11th.
It's August the 11th. No, I'm just kidding. It's August the 2nd, 2022. Jersey Johnny coming at you. And with me, as always, it's none other than Mr. Beer Samurai.
The 13th is okay. It's Carrie's birthday.
That's her birthday. This is true. Right. Very good. So I got to open this up. What are you eating?
Well, it's August 2nd. The reason I know it's August 2nd is because it's National Ice Cream Sandwich Day.
So happy National Ice Cream Sandwich Day, everyone.
And Brian had asked me, do chipwiches count? Of course they count. And I replied to him, you could put a slab of ice cream between two pieces of steak, and it's technically an ice cream sandwich, right?
There you go. Well, are you eating a chipwich?
No. It's from Lidl.
I'm eating a Blue Bunny, actually.
Oh, those are some of the best.
Mm-hmm.
So neither of us went for like that, the generic brand where you can't even peel that paper off of there without it sticking to the cookie.
Exactly.
And the cookie's so soggy, there's no crunch to it whatsoever.
Exactly.
I love those things.
They're good. It's pretty good. Gotta tell you.
It's got a pint of Ben and Jerry Garcia. I was gonna toast 2 waffles and
You're gonna make your own ice cream sandwich, right?
yeah.
Gotcha.
You gotta put it between.
Yes. We got a comment ready from Chuck Aaron. Love the ice cream sandwich. Yes. So do I. Thanks,
so much. Mine's gone.
Appreciate it, Chuck. You started eating it when we were doing the intro.
That's true. I may go toast some Eggos and.
I didn't even open it until now. So.
Now.
I didn't even open it until we started, so we got going. So
ice cream sandwiches, you have to. You do. And the thing is, mine was around. If you notice, I missed the. I only have one, Chuck. Sorry. Actually, I got a pack of 4, but I have to share.
I actually have an extra one downstairs in the freezer that I'll probably have after dinner.
Yeah, maybe. But remember the Carvel flying saucers?
Oh yeah.
Oh, those.
The whole box. Was it 6 or 8 of them in the box?
Yeah, I think it was 6. It was a sleeve of 6.
A sleeve of ice cream sandwiches.
Oh, those were so good.
There we go.
Those are good. And then when they started rolling them in the chocolate crunchies.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, you always got those. You didn't get the regular ones.
But that's the whole thing about the Carvel ice cream cakes that made them superior to every other with those crunchies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they get Fudgy the Whale.
Fudgy the Whale.
Tom Carvel sounded like he'd been smoking since he was 3.
Exactly. Tom Carvel. Wednesday is Sunday at Carvel.
Always was. Going Wednesday, get the tropical sundae and put hot fudge on it. That was my favorite.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'm going to continue eating my ice cream sandwich, but should we bring in our guests? Because I know he's chopping at the bit to talk a little bit about what we're going to talk about today.
And maybe even ice cream sandwiches. And, we're talking Carvel because it's something very Jersey.
This is very true.
And this is a craft beer podcast. And when you talk about Jersey and craft beer, one of the first names that comes to mind is Mr. Rick Reed.
That would be true. So let's welcome to the show, please.
Do we have him on the show?
We have him on the show.
Awesome.
All right, let's bring him up. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Mr. Rick Reed of Cricket Hill Brewing. Thanks, Rick, for coming on the show.
There he is.
Hey, I'm happy to be here, gentlemen.
Oh, thank you.
I had an ice cream sandwich, but I'll get one before the night's out.
There you go. I'm going to do it. And yes, Chuck, beer after ice cream. That's the only way to do it, isn't it?
Well, that's why I'm drinking the water. You got to clear the palate.
I have one right here, too. So, anyway, so I'm going to take another bite. So, Dave, ask Rick a question while I eat.
So, Rick, what was your favorite thing at Carvel?
Those are the cakes.
The cakes?
Yeah, the full cakes. Oh, I'm a fat one. Give me those little chocolate nuggets. Remember them?
Those are the crunchies we're talking about.
Yeah, that's it.
Top of the show, those chocolate. That's what made Carvel ice cream cakes superior to Baskin Robbins. Even though Baskin Robbins had some great flavors, always preferred the Carvel.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. This is really good. Sorry.
I didn't know they were New Jersey, though. I didn't know that.
Carvel. I'm pretty certain Carvel was Jersey.
Well,
New York.
Could be.
I'm not quite sure, but it makes sense because I don't remember too many Carvels in New York or Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I only remember them being in Jersey, so I'm just assuming they're Jersey. But that is a great question. Are they? Let me see. Let me pull up Tom Carvel. See where Tom Carvel is from.
It's probably from Nutley.
Nutley. He was born in
Syosset.
in Athens, Greece.
Close.
Well,
That's
close.
pretty close. So let's see.
Well, we do have a Sparta, New Jersey. So I mean, yeah, there you go.
We do. And there is a Troy, New York.
Hey, look at that. See? All right.
So blah, 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 blah. Fudgy the Whale, Cookie Puss. Don't forget Cookie
Puss. Don't
Puss.
forget Cookie and Cookie Opus every St. Patty's Day.
Yes, with the mint chocolate chip ice cream.
Yep.
They're not saying where it started.
It
Why?
doesn't. Did you go to Tom Carvel or just Carvel?
I went to Tom Carvel, so I'm going to have to go to Carvel. So, John, you take over the questioning while I play Brian Altschul.
Well, you play Brian. Where's Matt when you need him?
We've got to fire Brian. He hasn't done his job in how long now?
He's been a while. He's been MIA for a while now.
Yeah.
So we have to have a talk with him. We might have to cut his pay in half.
Yeah, again.
Again, right? So anyway, how are you on this fine day, Rick?
I'm doing just fine, John. Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming on once again. How's everything at Cricket Hill?
Yeah, we're struggling along, paying the bills. That's all that counts.
That's what matters. Exactly.
As long as the doors are open.
That's it.
And we can
making good beer, keeping the doors open, paying the bills.
That we do. We make very good beer.
There
I'm
you go.
not ashamed to say that.
There you go. And you shouldn't be. So,
And the interesting thing is, someone told us at the last beer fest we were, he said, the nice thing about Cricket Hill is all your beers taste like beer. There's no lemonade, there's no chocolate, there's no anything, just good, solid beers.
there you go. So basically, you're saying you make you might say you make beer flavored beer.
There you go.
I've got a beer flavored beer to start with today.
I do as well. Dave, what are you starting with?
I was at Saturday? I think it was Saturday. Wound up going to Ghost Talk, and they had just put out 1516. And you beer nerds out there know what 1516 is. 1516, the year that the Reinheitsgebot was implemented.
What's the ABV on that?
That's a good question. It's not 1516, I'll tell you that. At least I hope it's not 1516. This is a German Pilsner. It better not be 1516. I don't have my glasses, so if he's got the ABV on here, I have no idea.
Well, he has to have it on there.
Yeah, it's Jersey. It's Jersey law.
No, TTB, federal law, actually.
Well, not all. Not everyone does it, though. Not everyone.
Oh, well, only a few. Well, here's the thing: if you're only selling the cans out of your brewery, then you don't have to submit a label to TTB.
I see.
But if you're selling them out in the market, then you have to conform to the federal label laws. So, and there you go.
Well, I know it's on the label. I can see where it is supposed to be, but it's so small, and I don't have my readers that I can't make it out.
I got you.
So I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to go into Untappd, even though yours was already open. It's a 5%er. As it should be. As it should be.
As it should be.
German Pilsner, that should be right about where it should be.
Yeah, I was just doing that so I could put that up.
Yeah, I know you were, because you love your crawls.
There
we go.
Very nice.
Looks like a German Pilsner.
Very nice. Very nice.
Smells
like a German Pilsner.
Smells of noble hops.
There you go.
And it tastes like a beer.
There you go.
There you go. That's
another
what you like.
Another beer flavored beer. Right. I actually went a North Jersey brewery. Just happened to be acquired this, shall we say, the other day, and it is from Brick City. It is called Mild in the Morning. I'll give you 3 guesses of what style it is.
Mild in the Morning. Is it a? Well, you said it's a beer flavored beer, so it can't be a coffee stout if it's a morning thing.
No.
Is it a British mild?
Rick got it correct. It's an English mild.
There we go.
There you go. And I'll throw the crawl up right there. Mild in the morning, 4%. Only 4% English mild. A lot of English milds I had are in the 3s lately. This one, just a little bit more, but not much. So, cheers.
Cheers is here.
Cheers. What are you drinking, Rick?
I'm drinking my go-to favorite, my firstborn.
There you
Cricket
go.
Hill East Coast Lager.
East Coast Lager.
Yep.
4.2, clean as a whistle, filtered. It's beautiful. Then I'm going to have my second favorite one is the American Spirit.
Ah,
Formerly just American Ale.
Yep, and it's a wonderful pale ale, the forgotten style.
Oh yeah. We got one.
Yeah.
Chuck just said beer flavored beer. Yes, absolutely, Chuck. Beer flavored beer. That's the I guess that's the topic of the first part of the show today is beer flavored beer. So that's what we're drinking. So
apparently.
So
My second one will not be it's a beer flavored beer if you consider IPA beer flavored beer, and we know what is it Thursday, I believe, is in IPA
Thursday is IPA day. Yes, Thursday's IPA day. My second beer is actually going to be a doppelbock. So
That's good.
I'm going
Damn
to
good.
Open all your windows and let the cold air in.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Open all my vents a little bit bigger and let the cold air in.
The first Carvel store was in Hartsdale, New York.
Hartsdale, New York. So indeed, it was not. So.
Well, there goes that myth.
Beer Samurai's myth debunked. So there you go.
Oh well.
Oh well. All right. We all have our beer. We're all started. So let's get the show on the road. Rick, again, thanks for coming on. We really wanted your take on, and we've been talking about it obviously for a few weeks now. Here and there, we talked about it with Al Catullo. We talked about it with Tara Nurin last week. So we'd really like, your take as, somebody that's been, in an owner of a brewery and dealing with the state and its laws for over 20 years now. So we'd like your take on it. So the floor is yours.
Well, I'll start out with just this.
Mm-hmm.
I said, if you look back in the beginning, 2001, when we made a first beer, you weren't allowed to do anything.
No.
You had 4-ounce samples you could give out.
Sure.
And then they could buy 2 6-packs, and that was it.
But only if they took the tour first.
If you look at it that way, then we've come 100,000 miles in this industry. So
Sure.
Let's not forget what it used to be. And then in 2012, the rules changed. You have on-premise consumption. Everybody started getting into the business. Now they're starting from ground zero. So what we end up with until July 1st was reasonable, in my opinion.
Sure.
But now something happens, and I want to back up a little more. First of all, New Jersey is one of the great states in the United States. It has the best the best tomatoes, has the best women, has the best pizza, has the best bagels, has the best blueberry capital of the world. It has everything.
Well, there goes the top 3.
But they also have the worst image of any state, and that's not our fault. It's if you look at it, the housewives in New Jersey, 2 of them are in jail. The Jersey Shore crowd, remember those guys?
None of them from Jersey.
They're in jail.
Well,
and none of them were from
Jersey. But
Jersey.
nobody knows that. Everybody thinks they're from Jersey. They're from Long Island.
And where were the Sopranos from? New Jersey.
Right.
So everybody in the beer world, if you're not from New York or a surrounding state, you don't know New Jersey. They say, why would I buy beer from New Jersey? And not thinking about that. So New Jersey's got to do something about its reputation. And it had the chance to do it in the beer world, and it blew it. Now they're laughing at us in New York. They're laughing at us from Pennsylvania. They're just saying, how can you stay there? How can you stay there? Well, I'm in Philadelphia now.
You technically didn't stay there. Brewery's still there, but you're not. So.
Yeah, that's it. So I'm discouraged and angry with New Jersey and what they did and why they did it. I understand, but as long as there's common sense, and that's what's lacking right now. Common sense. Exactly. This last little, special project started July 1st, and it's clearly all written by the Restaurant Association.
Of course.
Every single thing.
100%.
And then they say they're trying to be even, and they're taking into account there's 6,000 bars and restaurants, And at the time, there's 140 now, I think, New Jersey breweries.
Right.
So they had a chance to try and fix things, and they didn't do it.
The couple of things that really strike me is, I mean, the whole thing strikes me as odd, right? And there has to be some common ground. There has to be people with level heads need to sit down together at a table and hash it out and put something together that everybody's happy with. Everybody's happy, right? So, and you got to get the level heads on both sides. But you know where I'm going with that. But in any event, the few things that are just glowingly ridiculous to me is the craft breweries are a threat to the businesses of the restaurant association. Okay, there's 6,000 restaurants. How many bars are there? 140 breweries are a threat to thousands of restaurants. And wow, we're strong. Holy crap, we're really good at that.
You know what? And if you look at the some of the best bars out there that are doing well, what they've done is they've partnered with their local breweries. They're bringing the craft beer. They're understanding that it's a growing segment, and that's what people are looking for, and they advertise it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they're hurting the bars. It's even more so than the restaurants. That's a symbiotic relationship.
Right, absolutely. I'm going to throw this up really quick. Chuck Aaron, of course, from Jersey Girl Brewing, has been commenting. He said, there is no table discussion. It's time for a legislative change. I agree 100%. There's no time. And he said, we've been trying that for 4 years. Yes, you're absolutely right. They have. For 4 years, this special ruling that they passed on July 1st was written years ago. They've been working at adjusting it and fixing it and changing it and adopting different things to it so that it makes things a little bit easier and happier for everybody, all parties considered. They just threw all of that work for the last 4 years out and just went right back to the beginning and said, "No, this is what you're doing." That's it.
And the problem with that is the most uncommon sense thing is this tour sheet that you have to sign.
Right.
So you're good for 1 year and you have to have a tour before you have a tour. But that's the only thing written into the law. So they can't change that. They have to legislatively change it, as Chuck said.
Right.
But have you ever seen anything as just as silly as that?
No.
Well, considering most craft beer fans in New Jersey by this point, you could probably give those tours.
Sure.
We all know how it's made.
Right. And the other thing too is like, okay, I walk into a winery. I'm fairly certain that most wineries in New Jersey that I've walked into, I just walked right up to the bar and started tasting wine.
Not a one. Do you have to tour?
I didn't have to take a tour. So
a lot of cases, there's not even an offer of a tour.
No. Distilleries.
They don't want you back there.
Distilleries, come on in. Let me make you a cocktail.
Oh, yeah. Or wineries. How about wineries?
Wineries. It's
all we ever did, even way back when, was give us the same rules as wineries and in New Jersey. That's
right.
Or distilleries in New Jersey. And that's what chased Tom Baker out of New Jersey, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Because he said that those laws will never change, and it just handcuffed him.
Mm-hmm.
So now he moved heavyweight out. Remember that?
I remember heavyweight. I love that. Stick All was one of my favorite beers.
I knew you were going to bring that one up.
Well, stick and jab. Stick All, stick and jab. Yeah,
it's something else entirely. And we're not going back to Portland. Shush.
I didn't say anything.
Not that story again.
Not that story again. No. But the other thing that really strikes me as hysterical is that, you have these, allegedly these bar and restaurant owners saying that they paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for their liquor license. Right now, I'm not saying they didn't, but it seems to me, and I'm going somewhere with this, but it seems to me that the majority, more than likely, that are against the craft breweries are the ones that they have legacy licenses. Like their great grandparents bought that liquor license for $500, back in 1934, right? Because the ones that actually did spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, they're bringing craft beer in because they want those tickets. They want those tabs. They want those covers. But in any event, even if they did spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on their liquor license, here's what I have to say to that. Okay. And we only spend a couple $1,000s a year on our brewing license. But here's what I have to say to that. How much did you pay for your stove in your kitchen? Because my stove costs a couple $100,000 too, and you could sell your liquor license for more than you paid for it. The second I brew my first batch in my few $100,000 stove, it's cheap. It's worth less than it was when I got it.
Yeah. So. Well, liquor license, put them in your pocket. You can sell them for what you paid for them at least, because there's more people and they haven't changed the rules.
Right.
So
Not-
that's a big facade they put on, you know.
But not a brewery license. You can't.
brewery. They can't. What are you gonna do? Somebody's
Yeah.
gonna come along and pay $1,250 and get their own license.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Chuck just said breweries need parity with wineries. Absolutely. That's what Rick just said. That absolutely. That would. Wineries can sell wineries, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this. You more than likely are, but wineries can actually go to BYOBs and sell their wine through their license at the BYOBs to the consumers.
And the restaurant can still allow people to bring their own alcohol in and sell the local wine.
Right.
Yep.
That seems. I don't understand the common sense there.
None whatsoever.
I don't get that whatsoever.
Well,
And then-
not
You're a BYOB or you're not.
no common sense. Mark that one up. The no common sense.
NCS.
Yep.
No common sense. And then sorry, I'm just throwing on about this, but and all the events, right? Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
I was going to go there next.
okay. So a brewery that's having an acoustic guitarist at 6:30 on a Tuesday night is taking money out of a restaurant's pocket. Really? All right. All right.
The whole thing about that is we've used this word many times talking about this overreach.
Yeah.
They are not. The ABC should be regulating alcohol, not entertainment.
Okay.
That is outside of their bailiwick. And we brought this up before on the show. You had a Flying Dog took on the state of Michigan because the ABC would not allow Raging Bitch into the state because of the name and the label. And Flying Dog sued the Michigan ABC, and they won the battle because they proved that they're only to regulate alcohol, not to censor.
Mhm.
That is not their job, and they won it. So now Raging Bitch is sold in Michigan, and the ABC can't do dick about it
Mhm.
because you know what? It's not their job. It is not their realm of authority. Regulating entertainment should not be in the realm of authority
It's
for
not-
the ABC.
That's
And they
not. No,
They
it
shouldn't
shouldn't.
be they should be regulating coffee. For Christ's sake,
No.
you can't serve coffee at a friggin' brewery.
But remember what the battle is. It's the little breweries versus the restaurants. And
Yeah.
so if you have enough parties going on inside the brewery, the restaurants, think they're losing out, and we know they're not.
Right.
I'll give you a case in point. I was up at Gear Block. I forget what town they're in. They're up by Hohokus.
Waldwick.
Waldwick. Yeah, they're in Waldwick. That's right. They're in Waldwick. And I was talking to Ron there.
Mhm.
And we were talking about the same thing we're talking about right now. And he said, he goes, not for nothing. The restaurants here in this strip mall love us because this was a dead mall until we came in, and people are coming in because there's a brewery here and they're eating at the restaurants. Their businesses have never seen so many customers
Sure.
since we moved in.
There you go.
So they're not stealing business away from restaurants. They're actually enhancing.
Helping it. Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
it. But the restaurants are still saying, listen, we don't want them to have music because if they have music, people won't come to the bar. Again, ridiculous.
That is
And
ridiculous.
I agree with that. They can't regulate entertainment, but
And-
everything has to do with the breweries. I mean, we're allowed to have private parties 52 times, and that's generous. Why did they allow that? Well, because if you're going to have a party at a place that doesn't have beer and you're having a private party and it doesn't serve food, you're going to go to the restaurant. So the restaurants love that idea.
Sure.
Yeah.
Of course. That's why they do it. You were saying before. Go back to what you were saying before. It's the smaller breweries. They're going to have a bunch of events. And you got a lot of people going to them, and that's what the restaurants are saying. They're taking money out of their pockets. We know that's not true.
Yeah.
We know that's not happening. But and just like you were saying before, like we were all saying before. I'm losing my train of thought here because I just looked at Chuck's. Yeah, let me throw Chuck's comment up here. Maybe the restaurant needs to replace the 20-year-old carpet and paint the walls. Yes, very good.
Yeah, and maybe actually put a good product on the table would be nice.
Yeah, there you go. And
Yeah.
look, I guarantee you, the restaurants that are putting out good food and have a great product, they're packed.
Yeah.
They
And
don't care about this.
and to Chuck's point, a good atmosphere.
And a good atmosphere. They don't care about this. They don't care about the breweries. And most of them probably are bringing craft beer from New Jersey in. All right?
Mhm.
It's the shot in the beer bars that, That's my take on it. I don't know that. Plus, I have another little idea in my mind, but of what it could possibly be.
I'll go there. It's
Mhm.
probably your old school Italian restaurants that haven't changed their decor in about 120 years, who are still putting out a flaccid piece of chicken drowned in sauce and ton of cheese on top of it and calling it a chicken parmesan, who've not updated their menu in forever,
Mhm.
Because their great grandparents, friends, and clientele, that's what they liked.
Right.
Maybe not just. I don't want to pick on the Italian restaurants, but let's face it, we got a lot in this state.
Mhm.
We know some of them are behind it, but other ethnic restaurants as well that have not updated their decor, not updated their menu, not stayed with the times. If anything, have cut corners to turn a profit, and so their product goes down because they can't manage their own business.
Exactly.
So they're looking for something else to blame.
So
why not pick on the biggest growing business sector in the state?
Right.
Prior to this, craft beer was the fastest growing business sector.
Right, and it was, and we were in New Jersey was the second fastest growing craft beer market in the country, per capita, behind Kentucky. Kentucky was the fastest growing per capita,
and it's only because their per capita is so much lower than ours.
Well, that's true. Right.
And you know what? Not to pick on Kentucky because they just saw a major disaster and there's still 100 people missing.
Absolutely.
So,
What? Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, massive flood.
Massive flood.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
And they've got more storms coming. So, anyway,
they have bourbon. They'll be all right.
This is very true. So Rick, what do you see? Like, what do you see happening? Do you think the legislature is going to get involved? Because it has to. That's the only way this is going to change.
They have to.
They have to.
They have to.
They can't not. We've already seen legislators come out and speak against this. We've seen legislators show up at breweries in support of the breweries to speak against it. So something's going to happen.
Right. I agree. Yeah. But do you think they're going to, there's so many politicians now that have come out of the woodwork behind this, especially local and county level, but a lot of state level as well. So, this can't fall on deaf ears, right? This can't just fall by the wayside. Something has to be done. There has to be some talk going on that's obviously we don't know about just yet in Trenton.
Well, are they back from vacation?
They're always on vacation, you know that.
When they are
the official vacation.
Are they when they are?
No, you're absolutely right. There's enough feedback from the general public that say, and they think the idea is kind of silly with it, especially with the sign in and take a tour and have a beer.
Right.
If that went away, everything else is palatable, in my opinion.
Right.
Although they're still regulating entertainment, and what they call entertainment and the things at home and things in the brewery, too general.
It's way too general. And I've heard this. I didn't actually read this part of the new the thing. I read through most of it, but I didn't catch on. I heard like second and third hand about this particular item. It's TVs. You can have TVs, but you can only have two. You can't have 3 or 4 or 5 TVs. You have like 2.
Because that
no bigger than 65 inches.
No bigger than 65 inches. And if you happen, that's 2 in your tap room. If you happen to have a TV outside your tap room in your outdoor space, if you have one, and you turn it on, you have to turn one of the TVs in the tap room off.
About the sign-in book. Funny story. When I was at Gear Block, Ron told me, he goes, apparently Jimmy Hoffa has visited the brewery.
There you go.
I forgot to do it. I was going to sign the book as Kaiser Sose.
There you go.
But
I would have just signed a Jim Cook or Sam Pelagione. Come on.
Just everyone. Here we go. Anybody who's listening to this, when you go to a brewery and you've got to sign the tour book, sign it, Phil Murphy.
Phil Murphy. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Everyone, sign the book, Phil Murphy.
Phil Murphy.
Or Graziano until the rules change.
Phil Murphy and Jim Graziano.
Yeah, there we go. Those two. Absolutely.
There you go. It's you're absolutely right though. The tour is the only legislated part of that whole entire rule.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is just
a ruling,
fabricated rule parts of this special ruling. If the legislature sits down and says, okay, we'll keep this, we'll modify this, we'll get rid of this, we'll modify this, bing, bang, boom. The ABC has no choice but to uphold that because that's law. The legislature wrote it,
Right.
you know, and the Restaurant Association at that point, sorry, it's law now.
But there's interpretations too. I mean, if the legislature says that the tasting has to be associated with the tour, now the ABC can say, well, you know, the tour doesn't have to be before you drink. The tour could be after or during. The tour could be, on the TV. They said you could do
Right.
that. The tour could be self-guided. The tour could be there's got to be some sort of interaction. So you hand the self-guided tour to the potential drinker, and he signs it. Then he's in.
Some breweries, the tour is painted on the wall.
When things get busy, it's tough to do that.
Gear Block has it painted on the wall. Jug Handle had it painted on the wall.
Mhm.
You know, so it's like, turn around. You see that? Yep. Okay, you just took the tour.
Well, you know what? Now, and here's the funny thing. What if you set up a TV right by the front with the self-guided tour on it? But
That's one of the two TVs.
Is that one of your two TVs?
Well, your two TVs. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And the TVs you can't watch championship games on.
Championship.
Not championship.
You know why? Because the restaurants, that's their bread and butter.
That's their bread and butter.
Of course it is.
Yeah, of course. It's clearly written for the restaurants. I mean, it's 100% written.
One of my favorite restaurants, they have a TV. You wouldn't know it when you walk in because they rarely ever open the doors to cover the TV. They only do it on very special occasions.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be the Barrow House.
Sure.
And the only time I've ever seen those doors open was during the World Cup.
There you go.
And that was it.
And Chuck just said video or written for the tours. That's what he said. So,
Yeah, because Kane used to hand out a card as you walked in.
You'd get a card. Yeah, you got a card.
And there's a basket that when you left, you could just drop it in the basket.
And there's
most of us took the card and dropped it right in the basket.
on the way in. Yeah.
On the way.
Thank you very much. All right.
Oh, yeah, right there.
That's Kaiser Sose. That must have been you.
that was you.
Kaiser Sose.
Mr. Sose. Thank you. So, but yeah.
Limp? What limp?
Yeah.
We're allowed off-premise festivals. We're allowed 15 of them a year.
15 off-premise festivals.
And I wonder why that few. Oh, I know why. Because there's going to be food trucks there. So
Right.
Restaurants don't want that to happen.
No, they don't like
They're
food
allowed
trucks.
to do that 15 times a year.
Okay. How many off-premise festivals do wineries get a year?
Oh, as many as they want. And they can sell their wines there.
Yep.
Although technically, the law was originally, if we go to a beer fest, we can sell our warm beer. We can't sell fresh beer.
Can't sell cold beer. Can only sell it if it's at room temperature or
Right.
can't be chilled. Can't be
That makes a lot of
something
sense.
they have to be able to. They have to take home and chill it. They can't just take one, open it up, and drink it there.
Right.
That's what it is. Right.
But that actually was good for the wine because we have the same rules they do.
Right.
They can sell warm wine too.
Right. Yeah.
I drink red wine.
Yeah. It's like yeah.
There you go.
And Chuck did just say one thing, and while Dave gets his next beer, Chuck did say, and I agree wholeheartedly with this. Rick is the master of the brewery tour.
That is one of the greatest tours I've ever been on.
Mm-hmm.
Those are years ago, my friend. Years ago.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So,
I was just praying that you had blood pressure medication.
those Friday night tours were the best.
Special.
They were special.
Special.
Absolutely.
We said it the last time. If you could survive the potholes in the parking lot, you had the time of your life.
I do remember.
Changed.
I do remember once, and it only happened once. Probably 12 or 13 years ago at this point, probably somewhere in there. I get a phone call on Friday night. I'm at the brewery, and Rick isn't going to not getting to the brewery, so he's not going to be able to do the tour at 7:00 or the.
So no one can drink.
Oh no! Somebody did it.
You had to do it.
I didn't stop on the diamond plating as well as he did, and I certainly didn't speak as well as he did. But and my speech did not hold a candle to his, nor did it go on as long as his.
Did you get the vein popping out the side of your head?
No, I tried, but And then I actually, it might have been less. Maybe it was about 9 years ago, 10 years ago. Anyway, maybe it was 10, 11 years ago. And I just texted him afterwards. I said, thanks.
Hey, I heard you were good.
Well, I heard that too, but definitely didn't hold a candle to you. So.
No, I can't imagine.
Well, that's nice of you to say so, but that's bullshit.
But in any event, all right. Well, look, I really hope that things. I personally don't think that it's going to continue down this road. Something has to give. Somebody's going to say something. And mind you, on that note, I guess it's every week or every 2 weeks, News 12 New Jersey does a Ask the Governor, like on a Friday, I think it is, or whatever, and they do it live online and on TV, and you can actually write in questions on Facebook, tweet questions, or call into the show and ask your question.
Oh, we need to flood that.
Okay. And I sat and I watched the whole entire hour. There was not one question at all. This was last week. Not one question at all about the ruling, which tells me that anybody that called in about it or wrote a tweet or a Facebook post, it was deleted immediately.
Yep.
It was screened and deleted immediately.
Thank you, News 12.
Appreciate it. So I'm sure that wasn't News 12. I'm sure that was Murphy saying,
yeah,
I'm not answering any of these questions today.
Hey, and you know what? And I've done my bit and I've shared it, but Al Catulo put out there, Phil Murphy, come on my radio show. Let's talk about this.
We shared it on the Facebook page.
Yep. So it's out there. Anybody, if you find the Al Catulo craft beer radio show,
Craft Beer Cast.
That's a craft beer cast.
It's a radio show on 970 AM The Answer, but it's called the Al Catulo Craft Beer Cast. Yes.
Yes.
But he.
I think we both had the pleasure of being on there.
Yep.
So it's but yeah, I would love to see. I'd love to see Phil Murphy talk to Al Catulo, answer the questions, because I know Al will be fair, measured, and well spoken about it.
Oh, absolutely.
So
and I hope he does go on there. I really do. I have my doubts that it will happen. But
no.
Yeah. And then the other thing I was going to say is the one other thing I was going to say, and I was going to bring this up before, and I want Rick's opinion on it. You can no longer give discounts to military and first responders, or for that matter, anybody. Anybody. So
no happy hours, no buybacks, nothing.
Nothing. They want a beer, they pay for a beer. They want 2 beers, they pay for 2 beers. They want 12 beers, they pay for 12 beers. Whatever it is, full price, end of story, done. Now,
I have no problem with the no buybacks, but we can go into that later.
But here's my question. No buybacks, no discounts of any kind for anybody. Wasn't it about 14 months ago that a governor by the name of
it was P. It began with a P, but it sounded like an F.
Phil Murphy or something like that.
Yeah, that was it.
Requested that breweries give out a free beer to anybody that got vaccinated that month.
Yeah, as long as it meets their agenda, that's fine, right?
And they didn't get reimbursed for those beers.
Nope.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. So, what do you think of that?
It's a typical politics.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's like one of the bottom line definitions of hypocrisy. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, we're used to that.
It is Jersey.
This is very true.
You just trained your first, John. What are you going to as your follow up?
My follow up, like I said, is going to be. Let me pull this out right here. Another. I'll throw up the crawl here. Another Jersey beer I got. Hand Machines. It's a Doppelbock lager, and we were speaking to the TTV before. It's a Doppelbock style lager.
Right. It's not a Doppelbock because it's not made in Germany.
You can't say Doppelbock. You have to say Doppelbock style lager. So, but anyway, it's a Doppelbock. 6.8%. A little low for a Doppelbock, but
yeah, but I don't mind that.
I don't know. So from Old Heights in Heightstown.
I love Old Heights. I got me a Crowler while I was up at Gear Block.
You did.
Yep. And they have a West Coast Red, which is a red IPA. Comes in at 6.2%. If you remember Hophead Red from
Bear
Bear
Republic. Yeah, I love Top Head Red.
Okay, imagine that, but
In fact,
not as bitter.
I dated her in college.
That's a West Coast beer, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Bear Republic, reference to there was a portion of California that tried to break away and become the Bear Republic.
No, that's a good idea.
Yeah, right.
California, Northern California, Southern California.
Northern California, where they're a lot saner.
Yeah.
So they tried to break away. It didn't happen, but there still is the bear on the California flag. So I don't know if that's a nod to that movement or not. But this beer tastes like Hophead Red. It only comes in at 65 IBUs. Because that Hophead Red had to be about around 120 or something.
Hophead Red was big. I don't know if it was that high, but it was pretty
high. Probably 90 or at least 90.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are you guys too young to remember when Block Island and Cape Cod and Martha's Vineyard all wanted to secede and start their own country?
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Called the Windmill. It was called the Windmill Antilles.
Windmill. You know what? Now that you say Windmill Antilles, I do remember that. I do remember that. Block Island.
I thought he was going to say you guys are too young to remember when Block Island, Martha's Vineyard, and Cape Cod were all one landmass.
One landmass.
I remember.
I don't think Rick's that old.
Hold on. We got 2 comments in here I got to put up. Jessica Barbera says, Rick is the best.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Isn't that nice of her?
Yeah.
And then she folled that right up by saying, that's the first time someone called these guys young.
Oh, yeah. She had to throw in the old guy. But at least she's a Mets fan, so I'll give her that.
There you go.
I'll give her that.
So, anyway. So, cheers.
She's the one?
What's that?
She's the one.
She's the one. So, cheers.
Nice glass. Are you on to your American?
I'm on to my American. Wonderful beer.
That is a good beer. That was one of my favorites.
And if you come to the brewery and sign the sheet, you can have one.
I'm gonna have to.
I heard that.
I keep telling Carrie that Fridays at Cricket Hill is the place to be, and I haven't taken her yet. I gotta get her there. I gotta fix that. Oversight.
Says the thing, it just works every Friday night. So if I do go to the brewery on Friday night, it's without her. It's sans.
Yeah, and it's without me because I'm on Thursdays and Sundays.
And you're Thursdays and Sundays, so you're not there anymore.
So Friday nights are not what they used to be.
Well, Friday night's music. Oh.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
No, I forgot that part.
Yeah.
Every other Friday night.
Every second and a half. Every second and a half Friday night.
As with fully permitted.
As long as they don't plug anything in.
Yeah. Oh, now he shows up.
Now he finally shows up. Reinhold says, "Hey, Rick,
we needed you earlier, but don't worry, I did your job for you, and we've cut your pay in half, Brian."
And he did. We cut it in half. And he put in the emojis: Cricket Hill beer. There you go. So,
isn't that nice?
A cricket, a hill, and a beer. There you go.
Ain't he clever?
Isn't he clever? So, So anyway, I think this is just, we've said it for weeks. It's such an overreach. It's just ridiculous. And
there is no, when you look at it, the ruling came out just as Trent went on vacation.
Of course. Timing is everything.
Mm-hmm. It was just like when Lincoln declared war on the South just as Congress went on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Waited till no one could stop them from doing what they were doing.
Right. So,
don't tell that to your kids, because you tell that to your kids, they're going to get in trouble in history class in middle school, like mine did. Anyway,
this is pretty tasty.
Subject.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. On that note, I did want to mention back to Cricket Hill a little bit. American Spirit Ale, or back in the day, American Pale Ale, was one of my favorites. But of course, Rick, you remember what my favorite Cricket Hill beer of all time was, right?
Colonel Blythe's.
Nope, that was up there, but it wasn't.
I know what it is because I mentioned it earlier today.
Yes, you did.
Cricket's Nocturne.
Cricket's Nocturne.
Oh, the Nocturne?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Maybe you're not as young as I think.
Yeah, that was one. I'm such a Schwarzbier whore, so that was.
I remember the first time I was at the brewery. Rick, you pulled out the share one of the first barrel-aged barrels of Bly's.
Oh, that was good.
Oh, that was so good. That was such a fun night. Such a great tour.
That was back in another story before sours were popular.
Sure.
And I used to say sours are somebody's mistake. That's all there is to it.
But sometimes there's good ones.
We were doing American ale in the bourbon barrels, and we open them and taste them before we put them in the cold room and carbonate them. And one of them was sour. So I said, well, dump it. And he said, no, we're going to put it in a bottle and sell it as a sour. I said, I told you it was a mistake.
There you go.
Well, if you think about it, beer as a rule was somebody's mistake.
Yeah, well, from way back when.
Way, even before you, Rick.
So let me tell you a quick story about the Hopnotic when you were talking about the trademark.
Yeah. Well, let's actually talk about that. We'll get to that really.
We'll
quickly.
get to that. Yeah, we can. You're
Okay.
killing the segue, Rick. You're killing the segue.
I was actually setting it up, getting in there, but no. Whatchamacallit. So yeah, so a couple of news stories really quick. Well, let's start with that one, and then we'll go to the other one.
Yeah.
Okay. Cape May, obviously, you're aware. Anybody that's not aware right now, Cape May's going through, which could amount to nothing, but apparently there's some words out there that their short tea that they do as a collab with Wawa was actually the intellectual property of somebody else. Look it up. All you have to do is go on to just Google it, and you'll see all that. I'm not gonna. I didn't read it to get to the letter of the law. Every single thing that both sides are claiming is theirs. So go on and look for it yourself. But on that note, apparently there's a trademark out there that was put out there by somebody other than allegedly was put out there by somebody other than Cape May before it came out. So I'm sure this will all come out in the wash, and we'll find out all about it. By all means, Google it, check out the story. Maybe we'll even share something if need be on the Log Room Guys Facebook page. But on that note, for trademark infringement, Dave had said.
It said if he's got a trademark, he's got the law behind him. Mm-hmm. And even though Cape May is a larger brewery, they have the money behind them. If he's got the law behind him, he should win this case.
And then Rick said.
2004, we made our Hopnotic, and we copyrighted the name. And everything was fine until 3 years ago when Heaven Hill Distillery sued us. And because they make a thing called Hypnotique, they pronounce it Hopnotic, but it's HPNITOQ or something. Mm-hmm. And it's in a frosty blue bottle, and it's got little flakes in it. And they said that they tried to make a new brand of that Hypnotic or Hypnotique because it's made in Paris. And the trademark people said you can't because it's too close to Hypnotic or Hopnotic that Cricket Hill owns. So they said that we never should have been given that copyright in the first place because they had copyrighted Hypnotique 2 years before us.
Oh my God, I remember that garbage.
Mm-hmm.
$30,000 legal fees later, they won. And so I said, well, wait a second. What do we have to do? Change the name of Hopnotic? I said, only if they ask you. If they don't say anything, don't worry about it. And I said, well, the lawyer then said, you knew you were going to lose. I said, what do you mean I knew I was going to lose? He said, you got a $3 billion company against you and you think you're going to win? There's your money part of it again,
There you go.
So it turned out that, we still have Hopnotic. We don't have $30,000. And Hypnotique has 3 different brands now.
And that stuff is, if I've tasted it, it's garbage.
I've tasted it too. It's not. What's the word I'm looking for? Good.
Yeah. You know what it is? It's just some sort of liquor.
It's a very, very, very ridiculously, insanely sweet liqueur. That's all it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get confused between Hopnotic and it?
Not so much.
They said if you're in a crowded bar, somebody asks for Hopnotic, you might get the wrong thing.
You underestimate the stupidity of this country, right?
Because there's so many bars that'll have crossover for pouring Cricket Hill Hopnotic and Hypnotique. They're whatchamacallit? It's silly. And if you can't figure out the difference, if you're that drunk you can't figure out the difference between the two,
Go home.
You shouldn't be drinking at that point. So.
What's the point of having a trademark? If it can be overturned by someone with money.
Okay, well, that's just it.
But then again, that is the
money.
law. Is the law of the country.
The law of the country.
I told him, I said, listen, at the end, I said, if you had paid $1 less than you paid your lawyers, I would have given you the name.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's history under the bridge.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So Brian just said he's got to go watch DeGrom. So
it's scoreless right now.
It's scoreless right now. So I think it would be
DeGrom season premiere.
Yeah, and Mets didn't do much today. Thought they were going to, but whatever. Is what it is.
There's a lot of rumors, but
there was a lot of rumors and nothing came to pass. They got a reliever from the Cubs. They traded J.D. Davis. This was what I said before on Facebook. They traded J.D. Davis, a starting pitcher who is more or less a bullpen piece, but he could be a starting pitcher, and 2 prospects for a 7 years older J.D. Davis.
Who's got a much better on-base percentage, though?
Not much. A little bit. A little better. Not much. But
anyway, back to beer.
So that was that. The other couple of stories are, and we'll get Rick's take on it too. Maui Brewing bought Modern Times.
Oh, I love what you said when he said that, Rick. Remember what you said? He's like, I didn't realize Maui was that big.
Yeah. I didn't either. I didn't realize Maui was that big. I didn't realize they. I mean, obviously, if they have that big a brewery in Hawaii with the real estate costs in Hawaii, I guess they have money.
Well, you know what? It's a good thing to see that there's going to be money put behind Modern Times, and they're going to survive. Because you got to remember, Modern Times is Thor's favorite beer.
True.
If you watch the, I guess it was Endgame, or the first one, Infinity War, and they go and they find Fat Thor playing video games. He's drinking Modern Times beer.
Yep. Yeah, I did see that.
And
we were in Hawaii. What was the brewery out of Hawaii?
Kona.
What was it called?
Kona.
That was it. So we went to the Kona Brewery, and guess the head brewer was from New Jersey.
Really?
You're going to find New Jerseyans everywhere.
Of course.
My favorite thing about that scene with Thor is he asks, you could tell that he's a craft beer nerd. Because to get him to get on the ship, they tell him, we've got beer on the ship. And what does he ask? What kind?
What kind? Oh, yeah.
Good.
Right? That's a craft beer nerd question right there. You got beer? What kind?
Exactly.
People that don't care about craft beer, oh, you got beer. That's all they care. Yes, it's beer. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's going to get me drunk.
This is true. So, all right. I think. Oh, and the other thing was stouts. The brand stouts. STOUDT.
John had me so confused when he told me this because he told me that Evil Genius was going to start brewing stouts. I'm like,
Evil Genius is going to start brewing the brand.
when did they
stouts
stop
again.
brewing stouts? I thought they brewed stouts.
STOUDT apostrophe S. Stouts Brewery. Apparently they're reviving the brand, and Evil Genius
is Carol and Ed still alive?
I'm not sure. I believe she is around or involved or something. I did see that.
One of them passed away. I remember.
It might have been Ed.
They were great. They were great.
Yeah. Or maybe it's a daughter. Maybe that could be too. But yeah. So they got together with Evil Genius in Philly, and they're going to be brewing that. And you're not too far from Evil Genius either, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I haven't been there yet, but I passed by it on the way to a restaurant about 5 times.
Gotcha.
You should have gone to a brewery instead and just taken the business away from the restaurant.
There you go.
I went to.
Oh no, it's Pennsylvania. You can do that.
That doesn't happen in Pennsylvania.
It doesn't happen in
Pennsylvania breweries and restaurants can coexist. There's just this weird time-space continuum in New Jersey where that happens. So,
interesting story about stouts, though. Yeah. In my beer history, I went to what was the name of the place? I can't remember. In North Haledon, old time craft beer.
In Haledon was Shepherd and Knucklehead.
No, store.
Oh, store. Oh, yeah.
Finish Line or something like that.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. But I had gotten a bottle of stouts, and I think it was a stout, actually, stout. It was the first time as a young craft beer nerd that I came across Lee's.
JW's.
LE, no, not JW.
Yes.
So I go to pour the last of
Lee's.
it.
Oh, in the bottle. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And I go to pour the very end of it. I'm like, what the hell is this? What is this sludge? What is wrong with this beer? Because I had no clue at the time.
That's great.
And then, so I researched and figure out what was going on. It's like, so it's high in vitamin B complex. So it'll help stave off hangovers. So I drank it.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's
It
it.
was good, wasn't it?
It was
Oh,
delicious.
God, yeah. Oh, Stout was one of the first stouts other than Guinness that I had ever had. I think the first one I ever had was Guinness. The second one was Mackeson's. God, I love Mackeson's. And then stouts.
There you go.
Is that what you're drinking now?
No, it's a red IPA.
That's the red IPA.
It looks black from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's back here, it really looks pretty damn dark. But
So somebody, I mentioned to somebody yesterday that you were going to be on the show tonight, and he says I might just have to pull out a Paymaster Porter to have on the show. Have while I'm watching the show. I said, you still have a Paymaster Porter?
he said no.
Well, he said it tongue in cheek. He actually has a 22 ounce of the bourbon barrel aged porter.
That I'd like to taste that one.
There you go.
That's good.
Well, we'll have to, if we can get him out of his house, we can nab him and drag him down.
Which is true too.
You know what? The only way to get him there, have an NJCB event there, and he'll show up.
Yeah, or as long as it's after the summer. If it's from Memorial Day to Labor Day, it has to be an NJCB event. Then.
All right, we'll call Mike and we'll get it worked out.
There
We'll
we
call Kivo and we'll get it going. Yeah.
Well, by the way, you know what we have to do is if we have one of those things, I don't know who came up with this. We have to file it with the state of New Jersey in their posse system. So now everything we register with New Jersey is called the posse. Aren't those the bad guys that are out to try and get the good guys trying to get the bad guys?
Yes, kind of.
Yeah.
So
the posse wasn't always
a bad name in itself.
Posse wasn't always good guys.
Yeah, I can go somewhere with that. But
Yeah, of course.
You're gonna change a vowel?
Maybe, but
let's not go there.
Let's not go there. The E, I'm gonna make it an A. Pasa.
That's what it was. Yeah,
Pasa.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right.
That's
That wasn't what I was thinking, but okay.
Well, it might not have been what I was going, but I just went there anyway. So it's ridiculous. And what you got to, it's 10 days notice, right, for that posse system, right? You have to put those events in. You have to have a minimum of 10 days notice.
Something like that.
Yeah, and here's the thing, though. It's the way it's worded to me. It's basically as long as you fill it out, you're good. But they can actually decline you. They can actually say, no, you can't have that event. Sorry.
But as we know, it takes New Jersey government probably about a year and a half to do anything. So, but you've already had the event by the time they decline it.
True. There you go.
And the events are just, it's ridiculous. I mean, we know it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's all stupidity. I still don't get the coffee thing.
I don't either.
Well, somebody approached us one time if we could load coffee into kegs because they were going to have an iced coffee dispensing machine in their clients. So we looked into it, and the problem was then the FDA gets involved, the health inspectors get involved because they consider that food, and we know that no bacteria that can hurt a human can survive the brewing process. It can ruin the taste of the beer, but it can't hurt you.
Right.
So wherever you go and you're worried about the water, just have a beer. You'll be fine.
That's why in Mexico you only drink the beer.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But are you going to carbonate coffee?
No, they weren't going to carbonate it. They wanted us to put it in the Sixtels for them.
Okay. Check it.
Load
Yeah.
the Sixtels. They were going to use Sixtels in a kind of chiller of some kind.
So it would have been carbonated. They would have hooked CO2 up to it to get it out of the keg, but it would have been carbonated in the keg.
But wouldn't you still get some carbonation leaching?
Very.
We're going to push it with nitrogen, I guess.
Oh, they were pushing
Yeah,
with
probably
nitrogen.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense, I suppose. They actually have a couple of. I've actually seen it. They actually have compressed air kegerators too, for anything that's not. I've seen a couple coffee kegerators actually, and they actually use compressed air.
Well, that would work too. It
Yeah.
might not taste
Absolutely.
good after a while.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I remember years and years ago when we wanted to get into a brewery in Booton. I mean, not a brewery, a restaurant in Booton, the Reservoir Tavern.
Yeah.
And I went in and gave the East Coast lager. And when I got back to the brewery, he had already called and said, "This beer is wonderful. This beer is wonderful." About 2 weeks later, my wife went in and they didn't have it on tap. So I went back and he said, "I took you off tap because if I have enough taps, I can win a trip to Ireland from the distributor." So there we go.
Yep.
And turned out that he used air to push the beer. And I said, "Well, I'm not putting my beer in there then."
Yeah.
And I offered to buy him CO2 tanks, and he said no. But
see, now that's the thing, though. Here's another thing you bring up, right?
Mm-hmm.
You hear stories like that all the time. If I have enough taps of this brand, I win a trip to Ireland. If I have enough taps of this, I get these many kegs free. Blah 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 blah. Go to bars. You walk in, they have a patio. Do they have plain umbrellas? No, they have Heineken, they have Guinness, they have Corona, they have Bud.
What about the neons in the window?
The neons in the windows, the placards on the sign. I mean, yeah, some craft breweries will give out tin tackers and everything, but the neons in the window, all of the bev naps on the bar, the
runners,
the runners, the collared shirts that have the bar's logo here, but
right here.
Yeah. So,
it says Coors Light.
But all of that, while illegal, is okay. It's all right.
Don't forget about if you do so many kegs, you get a kickback. Wait, isn't that giving a discount on the beer?
That's pay to play.
Right.
It's also pay to play. And the thing is, and I want Rick's take on this because I brought this up. I remember I brought it when we were talking to Al or talking to Tara.
Mm-hmm.
Is if you think about it, the biggest threat to big beer has been the craft beer movement. Mm-hmm. And I know full well this is just Jersey, so maybe this isn't the case. But when you look at these restaurants who are trying to shut down the growth of craft beer, what do they carry? They carry big beer. Mm-hmm. How much big beer's money was behind the legislation?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure a lot of it.
Can I ask you both a question?
No.
What's the biggest brewery in New Jersey?
That'd be Anheuser-Busch. You can see it as you fly into AWR. They got that beautiful eagle.
Just saying.
That sometimes flaps its wings. Sometimes it doesn't work. My favorite thing is I've got a friend who used to work at that brewery.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
His last name is Kraft.
I have a friend that used to work at that brewery. His last name is Kraft too.
So yes, we know the same guy. We met him in the same place, as a matter of fact.
We have a guy
in Colorado.
that comes into the brewery, and he worked there for 43 years, and his son works there now as in the brewing department.
Well, the funny thing
what
is,
does he drink? He drinks East Coast Lager.
He drinks East Coast Lager. There you go.
And the funny thing is, the person that John and I are referencing, where did we meet him? Carton Brewing.
Yeah.
So,
there you go.
And
I asked him something once. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but John knows. But John knows I don't give a shit, so I'm going to say it anyway. I asked him once. I said, every time I drink Budweiser, and especially when I drink Shock Top, I get a migraine. It gives me a headache. Mm-hmm. And I have MSG sensitivity. If I eat something with MSG, it gives me a migraine. Mm-hmm. If I have too much of it. So I asked him, I said, so Shock Top, every single time I get a raging migraine. Is there MSG in it? This was his answer. That's all he did. Drank his beer and looked away.
Yeah. Didn't say a word. That was it. End of story.
But also rice is in a lot of that beer, and Caucasians and rice don't get along.
The thing is, though, I'm actually, if I showed you my mother's mother, she's a little Chinese woman. So nice. I actually have Asian in me, so I can handle rice.
Okay.
I can handle my rice. I just can't handle MSG.
I can handle rice as long as it's covered with nice raw fish.
Raw, yes, there you go. I like that. Rolled up and maybe some seaweed.
Yep.
There you go. That's it. So, I got a picture that I'm trying to put up here. Yeah, no, he on that note, same guy, obviously, Dustin. We're talking about
That's the craft.
He actually went out just for the hell of it. He went out when he moved out to Denver in the first place. He went to took a job with Bud. They asked him, or he applied. I shouldn't say that. He applied to, I don't know. I'm paraphrasing this a little bit. I don't know the particulars, but he applied for a job to build the biggest, fastest canning line known to man, basically in Fort Collins for the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. And he applied for it and actually got the job, and he actually did it. So yeah.
Yeah, he still works for him, but he still drinks craft beer.
Mm-hmm.
Are you allowed to do that?
He doesn't. No, he doesn't work for Anheuser-Busch anymore.
Oh, that's right.
He works for. He's the Midwest rep for Malt Europe out of Milwaukee.
About time he got out of there, especially with that name and his penchant for craft beer.
There you go. It's not. Damn it! Hold on one second.
Is it spelled the same way?
CRAFT.
Oh,
Yeah.
Good guy, fun guy to talk to.
So it's not coming up. Oh well, doesn't matter. I'll just show you. Again, I'll just show you on my phone. Screw it.
What are you showing us here, Johnny? There he is.
that's him?
That's Dustin in the middle. It's me and Matt on either side. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You saw him at the CBC?
Who's at CBC? Yeah. We spent a little time tipping a couple with the man.
Oh,
That's nice.
But that was good. So yeah,
I know beer drinkers are the finest people on
absolutely,
the earth.
absolutely.
I remember back when we used to look for beer shows to go to because there weren't any. We were the complimentary beer at a wine show. They had wine shows everywhere.
Right.
And I used to sit there, and we were in our blue jeans and our T-shirts, and everybody else was in long black dresses and top coats, and they were sipping on their wine. And a girl comes and puts a bucket on her table and says, "What's that for?" And he said, "When they taste your beer, they spit it in there." I said, "They spit my beer into there. They need an ambulance. They don't need a bucket." And then I'd pass by, and the guy'd say, "Listen, when you're done hanging with the wine freaks, come over and have a beer." He said, "I'll be back. I'll be back."
That's funny.
There's so many nights I forget drinking with Dustin.
Oh yeah,
those were good nights.
They were. So, on that note, I figured.
I used to tell the story how you'd be in these wine shows, and you'd say to the girl, "Listen, here's what I'm telling you. You're pretty." I said, "Here in comes a guy, he's looking for a date, something. He sees you with a wine and says, 'You're probably a bitch.' But if you had a beer in your hand, he'd be running right over to you saying, 'You're the coolest guy, you're the coolest girl.'"
Oh,
here I just found a picture. Here's a better view of it. Here you go.
Oh, you got
there you go.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
Oh, he's growing that beard out nicely.
There you go. Yeah. So,
That was
of course,
in Denver?
that was in Minneapolis. That was at CBC this year.
Oh, okay.
Was
And
that
that's the guy you met at Augie's place.
Yeah. Matt and him were actually.
That's one.
He's known him longer than you and I have.
Yeah,
He was in homebrewers clubs with him and everything.
Oh, then yes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, good guy, real good guy. Anyway, yeah, and he works for Malt Europe now. He's the Midwest New Jersey rep, or Midwest New Jersey,
Midwest New Jersey. Okay, we just finally got a rule in the Central Jersey.
Still dealing with North and South.
He's the Midwest New Jersey.
Midwest New Jersey.
That would be Jackson.
That's where I live.
Right.
No, that would be Burlington, I think, maybe.
That's too west, too far west. Burlington.
That's too far west. You're probably right. It's probably Jackson.
Yeah.
It's probably Jackson.
Yeah.
We're still arguing if Central Jersey exists or not. One of the great arguments in New Jersey, only surpassed by pork roll Taylor ham.
There you go.
There you go.
Got to say both just to cover everybody's bases. Pork roll Taylor ham.
It's Taylor pork roll.
Taylor ham.
Yeah.
When we first came out with our Jersey breakfast ale, it was designed to go with Taylor ham and cheese, and it was less calories than orange juice. And you can't drink all day unless you start in the morning. So the breakfast ale was the way to go.
That was the way. That was it. You can't drink all day unless you start in the morning. Jersey breakfast ale.
And I remember when
Jersey breakfast summer ale. Now it's just
blonde breakfast.
just blonde breakfast.
remember when Carton Brewing released regular coffee.
Mhm.
The launch was at 10 in the morning,
Mhm.
and it was with pork roll, egg, and cheese sandwiches.
There you go.
At
Pork
Club
roll?
Life.
Pork roll.
Pork, yeah. Well, Taylor.
Taylor ham.
Atlantic Highlands, it's pork roll.
What?
Yeah, but the launch was in Caldwell at the
No. The launch was in.
Oh, the actual
Atlantic
one
Highlands.
at the okay.
Yeah, the actual
Okay.
launch was in.
All right, fair enough.
And they called it pork roll?
And the Highlands, yeah.
They call it pork roll down there.
See, what's funny is like I grew up in Taylorham. Dave grew up in Pork Roll.
Yep.
Dave now lives in Taylorham. I now live in Pork Roll. So
I've always had. I grew up in Pittsburgh, but I still call it Taylor ham.
What's the dividing line? The Raritan River?
the Driscoll Bridge, yeah, the Driscoll
Yeah.
Bridge.
Who knows?
The Driscoll Bridge, also known as Benny Hill.
Remember are you guys young enough to remember coming up the Parkway and seeing that drive-in theater that caused?
Oh
all the
yeah.
traffic?
I've been to that drive-in
Sure.
theater.
Absolutely.
Me too.
Yeah, my mom took me to that drive-in theater once to see The Godfathers
Oh, good one.
when it released.
Good one.
Yeah, I remember kind of falling asleep in the back seat, waking up just in time to look up over the seat, because you remember seats back there in cars went straight across. There was no such thing as bucket seats back then; those were a luxury.
That's true.
And looking up over that bench seat and seeing a severed horse head in someone's bed, and decided I'm not coming back up for air again after.
Yeah, I
this.
was probably in the traffic jam when that scene happened. Everybody's stopping to watch it.
Well, that was the whole thing. Traffic jams would happen because of that
Mhm.
screen. And the best part is when they had an R-rated movie and you're coming over the bridge and all of a sudden you're on titty scene.
I heard it. And they had
Oh, there was
picnic tables
accidents.
in the middle of the Parkway.
You'd have accidents on the bridge because of that.
There you go.
That was
I can-
hilarious.
I'll tell you this much. I can tell you a quick story. Whatchamacallit, of there was in, geez, I guess it was Rutherford, right on Route 3, right at the foot of 17. Where if you're going at 17 now, there's the jug handle there, and like medieval times is there in Lyndhurst, and you go around. All right where there's like a Burton Community College annex over there,
Uh-huh.
just before you go out towards Giant Stadium, MetLife, and all of that, right there in the meadows, right there where they built that whole complex up there, those office buildings, was a drive-in theater, and it was the Route 3 drive-in, right? And at one point, and this is years and years and years and years and years ago, at one point, the screen faced the highway, right? At one point, they showed it wasn't XXX, but it was X.
Oh, no.
It was suggestive enough, and there was a scene on. There was a 17-car accident on Route 3.
I can believe that.
I wish I were there.
Right?
Rick, that was the Amboy drive-in.
That was the
Amboy Drive.
Amboy Theaters. Yeah, the Amboy Drive. Yeah, that was it.
And they replaced it with that huge megaplex theater, which lasted for maybe 5-6 years, and then now it's still there. It's just surrounded by weeds.
It's actually sinking.
It's sinking.
It's sinking.
Thinking?
It's sinking.
Nice, right into the Raritan.
Right into the Raritan. So I got to ask you, what's it like to? I mean, you spent many years in. I know we're jumping around here, but you spent many years in New Jersey, and we're going to get to New Jersey in a second because it's foreshadowing our top threes here. But we'll get to New Jersey in a second. But spent many years in Jersey, but you were born and raised in Pittsburgh, and now you're living in Philly. How's that balance for
Are
you?
you still a Jersey boy, Rick?
We're still a Pittsburgh boy.
I'm a Pittsburgher. I lived 40 years in New Jersey, where I developed and learned that it's the greatest state in the United States. I moved to Philadelphia because I'm getting semi-retired, and I got my grandkids down there.
There you go.
That's important.
That's very important.
There you go.
There you go.
I grew up.
Very nice. Hold on, Dave. On that note, I had to find this picture to put it up there for you. This is my hand holding this last July at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. There you go.
There you go.
I was weaned on that stuff.
I was as a small child, I was a Steelers fan.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
you
was a
should still be.
As a Steelers, because as a young child, you root for who's winning, and Bradshaw and company were just destroying everybody.
Oh, I remember.
And then that team, I mean, I know Stallworth stayed for a little longer, but that team almost retired en masse. Like
Yeah,
everyone,
pretty much.
like 1 year, all of a sudden everyone's gone.
The 74 Steelers had 11 Hall of Famers on one team. It'll never happen again.
Never happen again.
No,
Never.
that was it was
And
a
that
special.
includes the coaches, but never happen again.
It was a special team. And so when they all retired, I didn't recognize the team anymore. That's when I became a Giants fan. Now,
Okay.
if you ask me who's your number 2 team, it is still the Steelers.
You're the man.
I will
You're
always
the man.
root for the Steelers unless they play the Giants. That's it.
That's okay.
But the Steelers will always have a special place in my heart. When I was a kid, my grandparents would give me the Macy's catalog in November. What do you want for Christmas? When they got it back, dog-eared and circled, almost everything was Steelers gear.
Good for
There you
you.
go.
I had a Steelers beanbag. I would watch when the Steelers were on TV in New Jersey. I'd be sitting in my Steelers beanbag, in my Steelers jacket, my Steelers pajamas, with my Steelers finger, hat with the big beanie with the big ball on the top of it, and my gloves, my
There you
Steelers
go.
gloves.
And you know what? You were a winner.
There you go.
Oh yes, it was so good to win.
Yeah.
But I've seen as many Giants championships as Steelers now.
Okay.
Oh no, that's not true.
Steelers
I'll
have,
see-
Steelers
I'll
have
see
6.
They haven't
Yeah.
made them. You've seen them.
Steelers have 6.
That's
Giants
right.
Steelers are tied for
4.
first with 6.
Right.
And they're tied with, of course, the system quarterback and the system.
Yes, and you know
coach.
what? And that's why I rooted. That's why I started rooting for the Patriots so ardent against the Patriots so ardently.
Good for
Because I
you.
never
Yeah.
wanted them to
There
reach
you go.
where
Good for
the
you.
And
Steelers
of course,
apex.
Dallas and San Francisco are tied for second place with 5 Super Bowls each, and the Giants and Green Bay are tied for third with 4 Super Bowls each.
And are the Dallas tied for most Super Bowl losses?
No,
That would be the
Buffalo.
Vikings at 4 and
No.
Buffalo at 4, right?
no. Denver has 5.
Denver has
Losses?
5. Really?
Mm-hmm. Denver has 5. Denver lost in 78 to the Cowboys. They lost in 87 to the Giants. They lost in 88 to the Commanders. They lost in 89 or 90 to the 49ers, and they lost in 2014 to the Seahawks. That was 5.
I am so impressed with you. I can't stand it.
You watch this show tomorrow, and it'll start to become tedious.
There you go.
Still impressive, but tedious.
On that note, I was just going to say, Rick knows I'm a Giants fan, but anytime I'm in Pittsburgh, especially, we're actually going to the Steelers game in October, Jess and I. But I just had to throw this picture up right there.
October what?
October 3rd, 2nd.
Oh,
Sunday, October 2nd. So there
Too
you
bad
go.
it's not the 16th.
That's my. You can't see the number. That's my James Harrison jersey, by the way.
We can't see Rick now, John.
Sorry.
It's just you guys
the,
catching. It's just you guys catching flies as usual.
We pick a game every year, and the whole family goes out to it.
Mm-hmm.
So this year we rented an ex-nunnery or something. It has 20 bedrooms.
Wow.
Nunnery.
And that would 12 of us were supposed to go, but we're losing them by like flies because they can't do it. They have a wedding to go to. So if you were there for the Tampa Bay game on the 16th, you could stay have your own rooms.
Could have stayed there. Damn.
The only problem is Jess walks into a nunnery, the walls will start to bleed.
Uh-huh. No. They'll
I
start
love it. Be careful. I love that girl.
they may start to whine a little bit, but when you walk into a nunnery, they start to bleed.
No, that's just churches.
But in any event, yeah, no. So we're actually going out the 1st through the 4th. The second, the first we're gonna spend in breweries all day and everything else. Second, we're going to Steelers, and we picked that one because Jess is a Jets fan, so the Steelers are playing the Jets that day.
Oh, so she gets to watch her team lose. Awesome.
Right. And then we're going to Monday night. We're going to PNC Park because the Pirates are playing the Cardinals, and it's one of Albert Pujols' last games. So,
And I was
big
also a Pirates fan at one point.
I was too until Clemente got killed.
Mhm.
I loved Stargell. Loved Kenta Colby was one of my favorite players.
Kenta Colby.
Rubber Band Man.
We actually did on the sports podcast. We're doing on the sports podcast tomorrow night. Our top, ironically, our top starting lineup of all time for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
There you go.
So if you tune into the sports podcast tomorrow night to get on with the sports podcast, you'll see the.
You can mix the match, or is it all 1 year?
No, mix and match.
Oh, all right.
From all time, it's our top starting lineup. We did the top to bottom starting lineup, and we did four starting pitchers and one relief pitcher. We're doing 4 starting pitchers. Well, we already know what it is. We did the list.
All right. Well, I know who's the right fielder.
Yeah. There was a.
Gee, I wonder.
There was a seat in Three Rivers Stadium that was colored differently because of that man.
That's where he hit his home run.
That was that longest home run ever hit in Three Rivers. He was, man, when he got a hold of one, he got a hold of one.
Oh,
This new stadium, if he had been in this new stadium, those people out in the boats.
There. Oh, look at that! Look at that.
That is Roberto.
Is that for your show?
Yeah, I'm wearing it tomorrow night on the show. Yeah,
His wife's upstairs right now.
that's why
I
I'm
got a
saying.
lot of memories with him.
But anyway. All right. Well, anyway, so you grew up in Pittsburgh, you're in Philly now, but in the middle, you spent 40 years in the great state of New Jersey. So obviously, there's a lot of things that you love about this state.
Yes.
Segue. That was smooth as fuck, John.
I thought so.
That was good.
I worked on it before. All right. So in the mirror with a hairbrush, anyway, so
records off the
clearly this.
I
knew. And
My very favorite has to be the Jersey girls that are very special. I've been married to 3 of them, so I know that.
No, you would know. You would know. So anyway, so tonight's top 3 list is top 3 things we love about the great state of New Jersey. We've bitched for the last hour and 22 minutes about a lot of things we dislike about the state of New Jersey. So
we bitched about the NJABC, and John and I talked about some of the corruption in the state and other things, the restaurants. And John and I decided for today that we needed to end on an upbeat. But we've been pretty damn upbeat up until this point, so I guess it wasn't all that necessary. But it's still nice to be upbeat about this great state of New Jersey.
There you go.
And so that's why we agreed on the top 3 things we love about.
Exactly. And once again, just so Rick knows, longtime watchers or whatever, they know this or whatever, we do top 3 for 2 reasons. One, when we first started the podcast 2 years ago, before we had guests, it was just Dave and I. So we paying homage to 1933. 33, there's 2 3s in it. We each did a top 3 list. So 33 there. And top 3s, we did top 10. It would take way too long. So.
Because we never stick to 3 anyway.
So tonight's again.
So that's where it was 10. We'd be like 15 each.
Right, exactly. So
Are we
tonight's.
allowed to have the same ones?
Yeah, we can have the same ones.
Yeah.
But you're going to go first, so it doesn't matter. You're not going to have the same ones as us. We wind up having the same ones as you, if that's the case. So.
Yeah, and John and I usually touch base beforehand so we don't duplicate. We didn't do it this time. Because we know there's a few things we'd argued over.
Exactly. So. Once again, top 3 things we love about New Jersey. Rick, please take it away. What are your top 3 things?
All right. Obviously, the first one is Jersey girls. They are focused. They are aggressive.
Fierce.
They get what they want, and you get in their way, you'll get hurt. And that's the kind of girl I always loved. And you stand up for yourself, she'll fight. They had big hair in the old days, and that used to be
but I swear Jersey girls were responsible for the hole in the ozone.
It could well be. But I love them, and I'm madly in love with one right now. So the next thing is bagels. In Pittsburgh, I didn't know what a bagel was. You come to New Jersey, and they're spectacular. I moved to Philadelphia, and I'm saying, what are these? These aren't bagels.
So
I'll tell you one thing.
Bagels and with the lox and the cream cheese, and
Rick,
love that. I love
Rick,
that.
I
They
lived
make them with malt, and they're delicious.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Rick, I lived in Rhode Island for a little bit, and the things they call bagels there, it is a dense roll with a hole in it.
That's exactly it. Exactly.
But it's not a bagel. But that's still not a bagel because they're missing some aspects of that bagel, and that is that crust.
Yep.
And that the dead center of that bagel should seem like it probably need to be cooked a little longer.
Yeah,
Probably
absolutely.
has to be formulated, the dough.
Yeah,
It's just,
it's
all about the
New
water.
Jersey bagels are great. So
yeah.
that'll be my number 2.
Mhm.
And next, personally, because we moved to Philadelphia and every Friday we have pizza and we keep ordering them from different places to be brought in, we finally found a decent one. But in New Jersey, if you order pizzas, you get them great. They're great wherever they come from.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's hard to get the only way you can get a bad pizza in New Jersey.
Did you say the only way you get a bad piece in New Jersey?
Pizza.
No, we're on to pizzas now.
Yeah, we're back to Rick's number 3 here. No, a bad pizza in New Jersey is, and I've said this before, if you look at the menu and they're also serving empanadas, it's probably not the best pizza you're going to get in Jersey.
Okay.
If of the soft drinks, Fanta's being served, you're probably not getting the best pizza in New Jersey.
All right.
Just saying, you can take that for what it's worth.
All right, fair enough. Although I do have to say there are, and I couldn't name them right now, but I can tell you that over the years, and probably not so much right now, but in the past, I've been in pizzerias that actually had pretty decent pizza, and there was like Fanta Orange or something like that on the guns.
It's just a Fanta Orange, but they've got the whole lineup.
Right.
Mm.
Maybe not so much. Okay. All right. So Rick's his number 3 is, I'm saying 3, 2, 1 would be pizza, bagels, Jersey Girls, right? Jersey Girls are number 1, right?
Yep.
By far. Okay. All right, Samurai, what are your top 3?
I'm not going to argue with Rick whatsoever. I've moved out of the state twice. Both times, they sucked me back in.
You return willingly. Don't lie to anybody.
Willingly and screamingly. And, like Rick, yes, to quote Springsteen, I'm in love with a Jersey girl, and that's one of the main reasons I did come back. I moved to, as many of our watchers know, I lived in Rhode Island for a while. As a matter of fact, when this podcast started, I was living in Rhode Island. Mm-hmm. So your point about pizza is well taken, because finding a good pizza in Rhode Island is pretty impossible. What they refer to as pizza there is no flavor to the mutts. You can't run into a Rhode Islander that will say the word mutts.
Well, maybe they say Maz.
No, it's mozzarella. I'm sorry, it's mozzarella. It's mozzarella. Mozzarella. There's no R's when they speak.
Mozzarella.
There's no oregano in the sauce. And I've had pizza in Rhode Island where the crust is pretty much cardboard. They get pretty much every aspect of the pizza wrong. I've come to a couple places. One calls themselves Brooklyn style pizza. That was probably as close as you could get. Antonio's by the Slice wasn't entirely awful, but when you talk about Jersey, you have to talk. Pizza has to always be part of that conversation. The state has won best pizza in the country as pizza capital of the country many, many years. Yep. It's either New Jersey or it's New York, or they give the historical nod to Connecticut because that's where
Frank's is.
Yeah, and that's where it started. They started pizza in this country. Mm-hmm. New Jersey just happened to perfect it.
There you go.
So I've got to go with that. Yeah. The other thing that I learned from being in Rhode Island, and as much as I avoid it during the summer, is New Jersey beaches. If you grew up in New Jersey, you take the beaches for granted. You do not understand how beautiful these beaches are, how wonderful they are. Rhode Island will boast about their breweries, but there's rotting sea vegetation. There are rocks that you've got to walk across to get to this thin strip of sand that they call a beach. Our beaches are absolutely beautiful. I've been to very few places where I can say the beaches are better. But John knows I don't go to the beach during the summer because I can't stand the traffic. It's just, and also the fact that everyone from New York City and Philadelphia are swarming those beaches. Mm-hmm. And that's what's creating all the traffic.
There you go.
So I'm up to 3 already, right? But I do have to echo the bagels thing.
Mhm.
I knew someone from Ohio. He had married someone from New Jersey, and they kept raving about the bagels, and he just kept looking at her going, babe, it's just bread.
Mhm.
And she managed to actually drag him out of the state because people from Ohio tend to not travel a lot that I'm aware of. But this guy didn't. He had bowling, bricklaying, and fishing, where there's like only 3 activities. Finally got him out of the state, came to New Jersey, had a bagel. Didn't really say much about it, but the next time his wife came to New Jersey, he goes, "Hey, babe, when you come back, can you bring some of those bagels?"
Mhm.
And so that says everything, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
So and Rick, you mentioned it earlier, man. Tomatoes.
How many are you gonna do? You just
That's
gonna
fine.
take all of mine because
I'm
you
just-
wanted to do 6?
Well, the thing is, well, the reason I have to bring up no, I'm 5. I'm going to stop at 5, and the reason I got to bring up tomatoes is because I went to Rutgers, and a lot of the research into some of the great varieties of tomatoes that come out of the state were done in Cook College at Rutgers University. The beefsteak tomato was developed at Rutgers. They have done so much research. They're the reason that the tomatoes in this state are better than any other state in the union.
I didn't know that, though. I've learned.
Oh yeah, thank Rutgers. Thank Rutgers for it.
There you go.
So,
All right.
I could probably list about another
I'm
9
sure you
or
could,
so.
but can I list a few, please? Is that all right?
Yeah, okay, you go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll stop.
All right. Well, first of all, it was my number 3. It's now an honorable mention because you took it. Unlike just like Dave, I hate I try not to go to the beach in the summer.
You live at the beach.
I live 4 blocks from the beach, so it's kind of difficult to avoid going to the beach in the summer. But I try not to. If I'm if I'm walking down the block to go to the beach, yes, I'm fortunate. But if I'm walking down the block to go to the beach in the summer, it's during the week, later in the afternoon when I'm done working, or if I'm taking a day off or whatever. But I am going nowhere near the beach on Saturday or Sunday or Friday.
Let's face it. After Labor Day,
local summer.
Local summer is the best.
It's great. It's great. Absolutely. That's when we get our beaches back, so to speak. And I've been down here. I'm in my 6th year down here, so
Benny's go home.
I think I've shed the Benny skin.
Well, here's
at this
the thing.
point. So
Johnny,
6 years.
yeah, I mean, going on 6 years now. Yeah.
Wow.
Johnny grew up as a Benny.
Uh-huh.
I grew up hating Bennies.
Mhm.
Johnny now hates Bennies. I am now technically a Benny.
A Benny.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been almost 6 years, Rick. Almost 6 years. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's not long ago. But so beaches are my honorable mention. But you know what? But yeah, Dave is absolutely right. The beaches are amazing. I love everything about the beaches. Our beach, right down the block here in Belmar, it's great. Avon's beautiful. Spring Lake is beautiful. Every beach, all up and down the shore.
Oh,
It's just
Manasquan
amazing.
is one of my favorites.
Manasquan's a great beach. They're all. I can't speak enough for them. But anyway, so that's my honorable mention because Dave mentioned it. So I'll give you this. My number 3 was going to be tomatoes, but I'm going to speak to the produce. Okay, tomatoes, all of it. I love just produce in general. I love Jersey tomatoes. I at least once a week will go get 2 or 3 big dark red Jersey tomatoes, and I will make a tomato salad. At least once a week, I do it. And we luckily we have a great farm stand, literally like 4 or 5 blocks away. Just walk over to it, get them. Well, it's really hot today, so I would drive over to it. But many of that. But the blueberries we talked about.
You're back to the posse. Okay.
Yeah, right. The blueberries are amazing. And New Jersey, I mean, Maine blueberries are great, but Jersey has some of the best blueberries in
Ours
in
are
the
bigger
world.
and plumper.
Amazing, yeah. And one thing that neither of you said, and by far it's, as far as I'm concerned, the best in the world as far as I'm concerned, corn.
I almost if I've gone to 6, it would have been corn because that same guy from Ohio came out here. And he's like, corn? Jersey has corn?
Mm-hmm.
And we gave him that silver goddess.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, this is really good corn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Absolutely.
The bread and butter corn.
Yeah. And as soon as we finish the show, Jess is preparing a tomato salad and 2 ears each of corn with our dinner. So
There you go.
There you go.
I'll be eating that tonight. So that's my number 3. Number 2 is, in general, the food. Pizza was one of them, but pork roll, Taylor ham.
You can't get it.
Go anywhere else and ask for a pork roll, egg and cheese, or a Taylor ham, egg and cheese. You're not getting it.
There's a few.
Because they're going to say what? The only reason that anybody else anywhere in the country would know what pork roll or Taylor ham was is if they're originally from Jersey and they get it shipped to them from Jersey.
That's why you can sometimes find it in Florida.
Right.
Because let's face it, very few people were actually born in Florida. They all came from Jersey.
They all came from Jersey, right?
And
exactly.
when I moved to Rhode Island, John's dad gave me a going away gift, a log of Taylor ham.
Big
There
log
you
of
go.
Taylor ham, exactly.
There you go.
There you go.
I found so many inventive ways to use that.
There you go. And my number 1, and I'm surprised neither of you, shocked to shit that neither of you said this. My number 1, the breweries.
That was a given. It's an absolute given.
Well, it's a given because you forgot to say it. That's all.
But back to your food thing, the cuisine in New Jersey, and it's one of the things I was going to put on the list. I forgot to do it because otherwise I had to go on to 7. Is the ethnic diversity of the state.
Oh yeah, and
It's probably my number 1 favorite thing about the state because that gives you all the fantastic food. It gives you the bagels. It gives you the pizza. It gives you the fact that you can get the sushi that Rick, talked about earlier. You can get amazing Portuguese food here. I live in Union City. The Cuban food here is off the hook.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The food that you can get in New Jersey because of that ethnic diversity is amazing. And
the Portuguese restaurant we went to in Lyndhurst that time. That was
oh God, yeah,
so good.
Oh,
Yeah.
paella. I mean, oh God, now I want paella.
You know what that goes to? That goes to the number 1 thing it has is location.
Location.
Where can you be 45 minutes from the belly of the beast and have to worry about bears in your yard? You know?
That's what I lived when I lived in Morris
Very true.
Plain. That I
Very true.
absolutely loved is that I was so close to so many major highways that within half an hour I could be in the mountains. I could be 45 minutes. I could be down the shore, or half an hour. I could be in the city.
Yep.
With no traffic, in less than an hour I can be in New York. In less than an hour I can be in Philadelphia. From where
With no traffic, that's a fantasy, Johnny.
Well, at 3 in the morning. Let's face it, 3 in the morning. 3 in the morning I can be in New York or Philly in under an hour.
Because the whole state's hungover at that point.
Exactly.
Because let's face it, this state is full of drinkers.
Yeah.
Man, we're full of drinkers. Let's face it. This because remember, there was a point until we really started exploding with breweries. New Jersey had the greatest distribution into the state of any state in the union. And there's a reason for that. And it has no bearing on the breweries we had here. We just didn't have enough to meet the demand of the liver-destroying alcoholics in this state.
Guilty.
Yeah, right. But like I've always said, I'm not an alcoholic. An alcoholic needs a beer. I've got one.
I got one, right? Look, there are so many things about this great state to love.
It's most of it is born out of that melting pot that this state is.
Absolutely. A lot of it is.
Right, because when Rick even talks about the Jersey girls, it's just a combination of everything that they've got to deal with while they're here that makes them those strong-willed, beautiful women.
Gorgeous, strong-willed, beautiful women.
That can put us in our places when we need
to. Yeah,
I'm
talking about you. Yeah.
Mine's right over there.
There you go.
All right, gentlemen, I got to leave.
Well, I was just going to wrap it up by saying, and I was actually gutting there, there's a lot to love about this beautiful state. Governor Murphy, please help us love even more of it, and
Amen.
And do the right thing.
If not, we'll vote you out.
We don't look well.
Almost did.
Look, the bottom line is not a lot needs to be done. Just common sense, please. Let's just get back to common sense. That's all we're asking. Rick, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
This is the second time you've been on the show, and they were 2 of the best shows that we've had. I couldn't be happier that you came on the show. And we're definitely going to get together. I'll reach out to you and we'll come down. We'll come down and hang out with you down in Philly at some point soon.
We do.
And
For Human Robot or Robot Human or whatever. It's called.
we'll go to Human Robot.
Human Robot is one of our favorite places. The sandwiches there are amazing
yeah.
because you know what? They can actually serve food in the brewery.
Well, how is that, Dave? How is that? How can they have food in a brewery?
Because it's not New Jersey, and you know what? If you eat, you don't get as drunk and you don't kill as many people on the road.
Oh well, let's hope.
Common
Let's hope that
sense.
doesn't happen anyway. But let's
Yeah.
let's get to common sense. Let's get to common sense. Anyway, Rick,
All right.
once again, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. And
My pleasure, my friend.
I'll reach out to you, and we'll get up to the brewery too. We'll do it either on a Thursday or a Sunday.
Saturday.
All right.
Thursday or Saturday, Thursday or Sunday, because I got to go when you're there.
And give my best to that wonderful woman you hang with.
I certainly will do so. You got it.
And John, when you come up to do that, let us know because we're not that far.
No, well, yeah. When I said we,
I thought you were talking about you and Jess because
Well,
all Rick
I meant-
seems to care
I
about
meant
right
all
now
of
is
us.
Jess.
I meant all of us, and I can't go there without Jess. So of
We
course, I
do
mean
that.
all of us.
All Rick seems to care about right now is Jess.
I know. You
All
got
right,
it.
pal.
All right, you got it. Thank you so much for coming on. And Rick, if you got to go, I'm going to do the outro. You got time for me to do the outro? Or you want to leave?
No, I got to get going.
You get going. I'll talk to you soon. And
All right,
once
goodbye.
again, thanks
Thank
for
you
coming on.
guys.
Are you going to leave me? Are you going to leave me alone to suffer through the outs?
Yeah,
There
you're
you
on your own now. pal.
All you, Dave.
Thanks, Rick.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Great seeing you, Rick.
All right. Great show. Great guy. Just the stories that could go in. I've known him for, 18 years now, 19, 18 years, somewhere in there. Yeah, I was working there a long time ago. So, yeah, he's a great guy. Some of the stories I could tell you, I'm not going to tell on this podcast. So.
No. By the way,
I could. Don't get me wrong. I could. I'm just not.
by the way, Washington's up 1-0.
Yeah, well, that seems about right. It is a DeGrom start. Nothing much changes.
Yep.
I mean, he could go away for a year. The offense is still going to suck when he pitches. Doesn't matter. Works that way. So,
Every time. Anyway, let's not get too deep into the poo emojis. Let's do the outro.
and go from
So
there.
you can go eat your Jersey corn, your Jersey tomatoes,
and watch the rest of DeGrom's.
and I can go take a leak.
And you can go take a leak. So on that note, we'll wrap the show for today. On that information, we'll wrap the show for today. We want to thank everybody for watching, and those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lagerroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you'll never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly. Talk to your politicians. Talk to the state of New Jersey. Get this taken care of. Get the special ruling overturned. Get something going in the legislature. You can do it. You have the power. There's plenty of stuff. We posted it on our Facebook page. We'll post it again. Go to it. Go to NJCB. Go to NewJerseyCraftBeer.com. It's posted there. And check it all out and do it. Do something. You can,
Just remember, a politician's biggest fear is losing office.
absolutely. You have
So let them know what you want,
Mhm.
and if enough of you do, they will do what you want because they will be afraid that their voting base has been hurt.
exactly. So
Easy.
you got it. Take care of that, folks. Drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly. And we will talk to you next week, folks. Take care.
And eat Jersey.
And eat
That
Jersey.
didn't come out right, did it?
Eat Jersey, drink Jersey, live Jersey, as Rick would say.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
There you go. He'd say live Jersey, drink Jersey. That's what he likes to say. So,
There we go.
there you go. All right. Enjoy, folks. Cheers.